What is going on? Greetings of peace. I'm gonna jump straight into this news story. So there was an individual by the name of Nicholas Cruz who went into a high school and murdered uh, a bunch of people on a high school campus. Again, this was a disgusting crime he committed. But there are people who, every time tragedy happens, they will use that tragedy and try to politicize it, or they want to push their bigotry or Islamophobia or racism and their other political agendas by using that story. So again, we saw some people on the right wing. Again, I'm not saying all right wingers. I'm saying certain people on the right wing uh, spreading lies and falsehoods, and some people on the right rush to label the Florida shooter as a liberal or a Muslim. So again, we saw some people claiming he was an Antifa, and then we saw some people saying he had a tweet or Instagram post or something like that where it said, where the kid said, um, Allahu Akbar. But if you look at the context, he was actually making fun of Muslims. And again, these people like to take things out of context, and they're being deceitful. So again, we saw people like Alex Jones. He changed one of his articles after a while, and he took one down on one of his websites, Prison Planet, and on Infowars he edited his article. So again, we see people like him for the insincere scums they are. And here's a screenshot of Alex Jones's Facebook page, and we see Alex Jones is an individual who always cries about fake news when he is one of the people spreading fake news. He is a liar, he's deceitful, and he's insincere. Here's another classic example of Alex Jones spreading fake news and lying. He claimed that the Florida high school shooter was reportedly inspired by ISIS, given his alleged Instagram account making references to Allahu Akbar. Okay, that's what Alex Jones wrote. But if you look at the full context, again, these people like to take things out of context, like some of these Christian missionaries. Whenever I debate them, they take things out of context. When I show them the context, they don't know what to say. But anyway, if you look at the context of the guy's Instagram page, he was actually making fun of Muslims, and he was also not a Muslim. So we see Alex Jones spreading fake news. Go ahead. I literally have the image screenshotted, and I'm showing it to you guys. There you go. There's also, here's another screenshot of some guy whose name is called Educating Liberals, and his Twitter name is at Education for Libs. So we see one person trying to attack Islam, and now another one trying to spread his political ideology about the left. Now this guy wrote, the shooter was a registered Democrat and a member of Antifa. Why does this not shock me at all? Maybe because you have to be a total piece of shit to belong to either of those groups. Rotten Hill loser. Okay, so this is what this guy Educating for Libs wrote. Except we see this guy spreading fake news also, because it turns out that Nicholas Cruz was not part of Antifa either, and there are reports now coming out he was a white supremacist. So you guys saw these screenshots. This is proof. I'm gonna go back to the video. We're gonna resume the video, and then I'll come back and show you a few more clips. So the individual was wearing a mask, and they were claiming he belonged to group X, Y, and Z in the Middle East. Even though if you looked at him in his pictures, he has hats that said U.S. Army on it. He had a Donald Trump hat. So again, don't be deceitful. Don't say he looks like X, Y, and Z when you can read what his hat says. But anyway, just because he wears that hat doesn't mean he belongs to that certain group. I'm not going to go by their standards and stuff, because you have to look at the full context. Maybe the guy was mentally ill, maybe he wasn't. But again, we see certain individuals on the right wing, whenever a white Christian or someone or a Zionist does something, they claim it's mental illness. But if a Hispanic does it, they talk about building the wall and immigration. If a black person does it, I'm saying certain individuals in these groups will use the word thugs and stuff. And if a Muslim does it, they'll say it's terrorism and stuff, even though Islam is perfect and Muslims are not. And if a Muslim's drinking alcohol, that doesn't mean Islam allows it. So again, we see their double standards, their lies and hypocrisy. but you see them politicizing this issue. Whenever something happens, people like Alex Jones or Tommy Robinson or Rebel Media or Fox News or these other filthy and sincere channels with their dirty agendas come out, and the first thing when something happens, I guarantee you what they're talking about, like these people like Breitbart News and stuff, or these Milo Yiannopoulos, these disgusting journals who spread fake news and bigotry and hatred. What they do is they go into their little boardrooms and they say, what was his race, or what was his religion, or what was his politics, and then they try to come up with a narrative that fits their political agendas, and they spew it out to the public. And again, we see certain individuals on the right, they've been exposed. So that Nikolas Cruz individual, some right wingers, again, I'm not saying all of them, were claiming he was a Muslim. He wasn't a Muslim. Again, remember, Islam is perfect, Muslims are not. But even here, that guy is not Muslim. So that was exposed. Then they were claiming he was Antifa because someone was spreading fake pictures of him in Antifa clothing or something. That ended up being fake news again, so he wasn't an Antifa either. Then they were claiming all certain things and stuff, and they're wrong. So again, I'm gonna show you some images. We saw Infowars and Prison Planet being spreading filth and lies as usual, and I'm also gonna show you a video from or clips from this other person's YouTube channel where he's spreading filth and lies. And then I'm going to expose them for their insincerity, because whenever, I'm going to repeat this, whenever something happens, they will politicize it. And if it's one of their boys who do it, they will tell you not to politicize it. Remember that. I'm going to show you guys a few clips and talk over it. Take a look at this clip.
We find out the shooter in Florida is a white nationalist, and is that going to stop the right wing from lying about it? Of course not. Immediately there was fake news all over the place. BuzzFeed documented 17 different fake stories, none from the left, none from the mainstream media, none from moderates. There were some pranksters in there that do their usual pranks about who the shooter is. Everyone else was right wing. All the fake news came from the right wing and pranksters. That's it. So why? Because they don't want to say that he's a white nationalist. So among the different fake news they had was, he is a communist because he was wearing a pro-communist shirt. Turns out, nope, that's a different guy, different picture. It was a 24-year-old, not Cruz. They just put it up there because they lie. They lie all the time and they don't care. Lying for a lot of the right-wing websites is not the bug, it's the feature. It is to do propaganda for their own benefit. Then they said that he was pro-Muslim because he's written Allahu Akbar. If you read the post where he wrote Allahu Akbar, he was making fun of Muslims. If you kept reading the post, you would see that he hated Muslims, he hated blacks, he hated Antifa, and he hated cops. And he was egged on by the Republic of Florida, was a white nationalist group. By the way, their leader admits that he did go to rallies with them and he was part of the group. He says, well, we didn't direct him. But their leader also had put up a flow chart about how to be a lone wolf. Now, pause for a second. Imagine that we caught a guy who shot 17 of our kids in a school, and he was Muslim American, and he had been taught by a Muslim extremist group that he was in to be a lone wolf, and he hated cops and talked about killing them. He hated all these different people and wanted to kill them, and then he did kill them. Do you think we would have arrested the guy who taught him how to be a lone wolf? You know that guy would be so deeply in prison and in a world of trouble. Have we arrested the leader of Republic of Florida? Of course not. It's a totally different standard. But back to the right-wing media. Finally, they were onto something. They found a BuzzFeed article that says this. It said the quote, why we need to take away white people's guns now more than ever. But as you can see, that is actually the title of a fake BuzzFeed story. They never wrote that.
So you guys saw that clip debunking a lot of the lies, as well as me debunking a lot of the lies spread by fake news. Again, when I say fake news, I mean these Judeo-Christian YouTube channels and news outlets and Zionist channels and Islamophobic channels and also racist news organizations and stuff, and Islamophobic news organizations, and etc. You guys get the point. But anyway, there's this YouTube channel called Israel Bible Prophecy News Analysis and Ezekiel Temple Watch, and we're gonna expose this guy for the Zionist lying scum he is. So the video is titled Florida School Shooter Facebook Ties to Islam Antifa Bible Prophecy Analysis Part 1. So I'm going to show you some of his clips and the reasoning behind his propaganda and exposing his lies. Again, this guy's just another lying Zionist scumbag, and we're going to keep exposing these people. So let's take a look at this clip.
What I want to do is show you with the camera some stuff off his webpage, particularly some of the Facebook groups the shooter was involved in. Latino Muslims. The police scanners were saying that this guy was, when they had him in custody, the police were calling for a Spanish speaker. Bingo. Freedom for Gaza. Put that in your mind when we get into the Bible explanation. Black Lives Matter Rutgers. Refuse fascism. Adel Ahmed for president. Okay, that's some Muslim running. Queer Palestinian Empowerment Network. So we're talking about gay Palestinians now? And then he had this thing apparently comes off there too, telling people who or what Allah Akbar means or stands for. And then it also says he was a follower of CAIR, C-A-I-R, and Black Lives Matter. I don't know much about CAIR. I really don't. There's the map.
Fellow students also said Cruz was known for holding extreme political views. On Thursday, a white nationalist hate group called the Republic of Florida Militia claimed the gunman was a member who had trained with the militia, but the group's leader later walked back that claim. The former classmates of Cruz did describe him as politically extreme. A 17-year-old junior named Ocean Parody told the Daily Beast Cruz, quote, for example, he would degrade Islamic people as terrorists and bombers. I've seen him wear a Trump hat. Cruz once posted a photograph on Instagram wearing a mask and a red Make America Great Again hat. CNN also aired footage of a shirtless Cruz wearing the same hat, shooting a gun in his backyard that was taken by a next-door neighbor. A 16-year-old junior, Josh Charo, who was in JROTC with Cruz, that's the military training program for high school kids, said Cruz often expressed racist beliefs. Charo told the Daily Beast he would always talk about how he felt whites were a bit higher than everyone. He'd be like, my people are over here industrializing the world and starting new things while your people, meaning blacks and Latinos, are just taking up space. In a comment he posted to a YouTube video, Nicholas Cruz also singled out anti-fascist protesters known as Antifa to threaten mass murder. His comment read, I'm going to watch them sheep fall. F Antifa. I wish to kill as many as I can. Well, we're joined right.
Let me explain to those of you that may be new to this what a peace deal is. It means you give the heathens that worship a false god and build idols, mosques and minarets to the false gods in God's holy land, okay? A piece of the land that God arranged for you to have, voluntarily give it to them. Oh, and they'll give you a piece of paper or guaranteeing you peace, which is a worthless piece of garbage that their own Quran tells them they could violate. And if this type of thing is feasible...
I'm going to end the video right there, but as we were taught in Islam, when it's truth versus falsehood, by its nature, falsehood is bound to perish. And we've done that in this video, and we've seen that time and time again, and we've been debunking these people. There have been Dawah channels and other channels just debunking the lies from people that are racist or bigoted or Islamophobic or just spreading lies and stuff, it's not gonna work because there's gonna be people to speak truth against you, and we see that right here happening in this video. But anyways, just reflect upon this, and remember, I'm gonna keep repeating this to who's ever watching this. If you're sincere and you're for justice and stuff, always side with the oppressed and never the oppressors, regardless of someone's race, religion, gender, ethnicity, and etc. And just notice how certain people will tell lies, misrepresent stuff, or take things out of context in order for people watching this video to hate certain groups of people. Again, this is sad. And then what's even sadder is they try to act sincere and pretend they care about an individual when all they will do is politicize that event or use it for their religious purposes and stuff. Again, we've seen that in this video, how there are certain Islamophobic people like Alex Jones and this guy in Israel spreading lies and stuff. Or I should say the Zionist. Not everyone in Israel does that, but the Zionist here, and also Alex Jones and other certain right-wingers and Zionists just being nasty and stuff. Again, reflect upon this. Peace.